With modern women, there is this emphasis on do whatever you want. Nothing is off the table. It's your choice, the endless choices. You can have it all, actually. And it seems that they're left with a nagging thought when they finally do make a choice. And it's, what if? What if something else would have been better?
I love my husband, but I wish that I never married him.
Oh,
I'm Sammy, and I'm
okay.
currently deconstructing from religion, and I am questioning every single thing about my life.
Yeah.
And the fact that I got married at 18 years old and have 8 children that I'm taking care of is not a choice that I would make now that I understand that God is not real and eternal happiness is not on the table. How am I supposed to move forward, and how am I supposed to feel peace with these choices that I feel I would not have made if I was properly informed about life? How do you reconcile that? Please let me know if you have, because
She should have started this video with, "Hi, I'm Sammy, and I'm an awful woman with severe issues. I'm very immature. I obsess over what ifs. And my husband should divorce my dumbass for saying publicly, I wish I never married him." It's perplexing to me how so many of these wives feel so comfortable speaking so disrespectfully about their husbands on social media. A rational mind would think, well, they're bold enough to say this stuff because, well, they must be assuming he'll never see the video. But I don't think that's the case, though. I think they just don't care. Either way, he does, of course, eventually see it, whether it's on his own or someone sends it to him. So then my question is, how does that go, right? So these horrible wives, they make these videos. Their husbands get on their phones and they check in on the account that's run by their wife. They scroll through the videos and stumble across a clip of her saying, yeah, I love my husband, but I wish I never married him. Like, what happens next? Does he come home and say, hey, did you make a video saying that you wish you didn't marry me? And then it's like, what did she say, oh, well, yeah, I did. I did say that. But actually, I bet it usually goes kind of like this. So she responds with, well, I'm sorry you feel upset about this, but it's how I feel. Actually, I've been feeling this way for a while, and it's because you're not hearing me. I feel unseen, and you're not doing enough for me. And so she deflects, and now, well, it's all his fault. Now he's in the wrong, right? And suddenly her public disrespect has resulted in him being scrutinized. So zero accountability for her, and then, well, she keeps doing it, and then divorces him eventually. And when she finally gets what she thinks she wants, she comes back and starts longing for what she used to have. Because so many of these women need to live the alternate scenario before realizing, nope, what I had before was better. But by then, it's too late. What's happening with Sammy here is she feels betrayed by religion. Because in her mind, the lives that she could have lived if it were not for religion would have been better and more aligned with her natural female intuition than the life she's currently living. She thinks a life where, she didn't get married young and wasn't a baby factory would be better. What she refuses to consider, though, is actually how much worse her life could be if not for her religious upbringing. Sammy is here stuck thinking about all the flings she could have had, the childless adventures she could have taken, the impulsive purchases she could have made, all the freedom that she thinks the church took away from her. But Sammy doesn't have the self-awareness to realize she's painting a fantasy. And it is one where everything is just peachy. Sammy would be better off considering that freedom she envies often leads to a different kind of struggle. Things like debt, emotional baggage, abortions, single motherhood, depression and anxiety, medication use, poverty, promiscuity, abuse, broken relationships, and loneliness. The church did not rob her of anything. Matter of fact, it gave her structure and a purpose. What's robbing her now is the lie that every other possible path would have been better than the one she's living. She's too dumb to realize she actually did everything right. And what she's being led to follow nowadays is completely broken. This is obviously a woman who has become a secular feminist. And actually, in the next clip I'm going to show you, it'll be a woman living what could have been her life, her so-called, alternate reality, if she had not received the guidance and structure that she did at such a early age. A life where she followed her own female intuition, and surprise, surprise, this woman I'm going to show you is not happy either. But advice like this is closer to the social norms of today, which is why it's not surprising that she's switched up. This post here blew up. Don't skip your hoe phase. It'll come back and haunt you when you are married. So stuff like this is not new. Yesterday, I mentioned the common lie preached by women is to sleep around and get tons of experience so you know what you like. And so you get it out of your system. Kind of like what this woman here is hinting at. That post or whatever. But, the only thing that really prepares women for is exactly what they end up doing, which is, bouncing from one short-term fling to another and incapable of sustaining anything long-term. A big problem with this tweet is actually the assumption that even after a woman has a full hoe phase, she will still land a good husband. And not only that, but the post implies her promiscuity is somehow a benefit to the marriage. And that by sleeping around, she'll actually become less prone to, her natural fickle tendencies. As if turning herself into a walking pocket pussy strengthens her loyalty and dedication to one man. The issue is really that men are still willing to marry promiscuous women. And that's exactly what allows women to have their cake and eat it too.
There's something so lonely about being 29 and single on a Friday. You have friends, but they're all out with their married friends, or they're with their husbands or their children. And then you're left eating a medium cheese pizza in your car after work. I know you're supposed to find beauty in pain, but sometimes it just fucking hurts and it sucks. And this isn't me asking for empathy, because I know people have it a lot worse or whatever. But it doesn't mean it feels good. And it's like you want to cry, but what's the point?
Yikes. So here we have two completely different women polar opposites. So one is married with kids and she regrets it. She wishes she hadn't made that choice and is clearly going through an identity crisis. The other is single, 29 years old, eating pizza alone in her car, feeling sad as she watches her friends get married and have kids. So the single girl envies married life. The married one is fantasizing about what the single life could have been like. And we've got two cases of women wanting what the other has. But I guess the question is, which woman has the objectively better situation? Which one is the dumbest for thinking the life on the other side is better? Well, generally, married women with children report higher life satisfaction and long-term well-being than single childless women. And they're also less likely to report feeling lonely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like life is what you make it, but modern women have a bad habit of wanting what they don't have. So when they're married, they miss the single life. When they're single and approaching 30, they fantasize about being married. And I think all that probably has something to do with the fact that modernity keeps telling them, you can do whatever you want. You can have it all. It's all your choice. It's up to you. Everything's subjective. There's like, just do whatever, right? That is kind of the constant memo. But the problem is they already struggle to make a final choice and stick to it. They're fickle by nature. And adding that kind of advice, it only makes them kind of drift like a leaf in the wind. We have to tell them what to do. Let's take the religious girl. She was told what to do, and she followed that path. But the moment she got exposed to modern culture, atheism, suddenly her whole life up to that point became one big regret. Now she's questioning everything. Believes she made the wrong choice, says she was misled, wishes she never married her husband, and her 8 kids are just a burden. Meanwhile, there's a 29-year-old blonde girl here wishing she had the life that woman is now denouncing. Two women in opposite situations, both unsettled, both convinced they're missing out, and both thinking they made the wrong decision.